Sharon Barkamo,
Here.
Jackie Burke.
Here.
Lynn Lukes.
Here.
Teresa Lisman.
Here.
Jane Turner.
Here.
Okay, we have a forum. We'll now have a public hearing for the budget. I would ask Kevin Stein to present that for us. Thank you.
So I'll just, you guys all have a copy of the aid levy. the proposed budget.
You want to sit up there?
This is better than he can talk. I have to do that, sorry.
All right. So I'll kind of just highlight some of the key items here. There's an insert on the left-hand side of the booklet. That's just for your reference. So I entered the 2.25, which is what we got from the state. That's at the top. Our certified enrollment's 801.3. Our fiscal year 16 district cost per pupil is $6,451. For fiscal year 17, it's $6,596. For our TLC, or teacher leadership supplemental cost per pupil, for fiscal year 16 is $312.68. For 17, it'll be $319.72. And like I said, I'm just kind of highlighting some of that. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of cells. I'm not going to go over all that. Our total special ed weighting, that's level 1, 2, and 3, is 101.24 students. So the weighted enrollment is 902.54. Then we take into our sharing, which that would be, we shared a librarian with Cal. So we get credit of 2.82 students for that. The at-risk formula is 4.4 students, and our ELL is 12.32. So our district weighted enrollment is 922.1.
Kevin, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
So the sharing of the librarian with Cal
Gave us two.
this is in the past, right?
Yes, yes.
It's not gonna go forward, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
So, and I should preface, the majority of these cells are pre-populated by the Department of Management. There's a handful of cells that we really can manipulate on the aid levy, so I want to point that out as well. So for fiscal year 17, the 6596 times the 801.3 equals your line 4.3, which is the regular program district cost without any adjustment. The line 4.11 is your district cost for supplementary weighting, and 4.14 is your special ed district cost, and your TSS district cost is on 4.17. That's your supplemental. And then it's a lot of repetition on that second page. The AEA district cost calculations, that's a flow through that comes in and goes out. The combined district cost summary, if you go to the third page there, line 5.19, that accounts for the district cost per pupil, all the weighting, and gives you the total combined district cost. Section 6, and you can refer to the tab that's labeled tax certification. That's where a lot of those numbers come from. It's at the very top, it's labeled adoption of budget and taxes. So, and the highlighted figures there, that comes from the Department of Management website as well. So that's one of the cells that we get to plug in. It's not really something we have a say in, but it's something we have to manually plug in. And so that's where those figures come from. Section 7 under preschool foundation aid, and a lot of this is, like I said, it's a lot of repetition. It's over and over and over again. That's the preschool foundation is pretty basic. They take your 4-year-old preschool enrollment, divide it by 2, and that's how that's calculated. The property tax adjustment aid, Additional dollar levy, once again, that's repetition from previous line items and from the tax certification as well. All these property tax replacement, the tax levies, once again, it's all from that tax certification. It's just a lot of redundancy there. Instructional support program, section 10, I'll bring that. So, line 10.3, the total regular program district costs, that $5,285,375. We can apply for the maximum portion, which is 10%, which is line 10.4, which equals 10.5, so $528,538. Again, it's brought down to line 10.13, and the unadjusted instructional support state aid, that's what we get from the state, is $124,040. Now, these are all estimates, so, but they're all really close, but that's what we, you know, a budget is an estimate, it's not a hard figure. So, line 10.15, right now we have it 0. That's what was recommended by our financial experts. That's this income surtax. If you want that changed, this is the time to make that recommendation, and I can change that before I submit the budget. So that's why that shows 0, but like I said, we can change that. That's why it shows 0 on 10.17 and 10.2. If you see the line 10.21, the $404,490 instructional support property and utility replacement tax, that's property taxes. That's how we're gonna pay for it. As of right now, that's how it's proposed. Along with that $124,000 from the state, it equals that $528,000. Now, if we change line 10.15 to say 3%, then that's gonna change line 10.21. That's not gonna change line 10.22. It's not gonna change line 10.13. That 10.13 is not gonna change. That's the end result. It's how you get there. So that's why I bring this to the board's attention. So this, like I said, this is the time if you wanna make that change and recommendation. I will gladly do whatever the board recommends.
Recommendation to stay with the 3% that we normally
Okay.
apply. We need a motion
Later.
to do our
This is
budget.
just a hearing.
Yeah, this is just a hearing, so.
So, do you have any idea how, excuse me,
No.
how much money that would be, or is it, can you estimate that at all, or not?
Can I get back to you on that?
Sure, sure.
Okay.
But the point is,
But the point is, the overall 520.
Cannot change.
That cannot change.
so it's whether you're gonna take some from the
Income
income surtax
surtax.
and some from property or not.
Correct.
Got it.
But not from both?
It can be
It can
both.
be from
Or
both.
it can
Okay.
be all from,
Okay,
If-
all for one or?
As of right now, it's proposed all from property tax.
and that's because that was the recommendation from Gary Sinclair.
Gary Sinclair, yes. And property tax is a more stable than income surtax. Property taxes, the property values don't go up and down a lot. People's income can change drastically. So there's no guarantee if you put 3% income surtax and it shows whatever that dollar figure is, you may get more, you may get less. That's all an estimate there.
And so how much percentage do you get of the property tax if you also use the surtax? Is there a certain percentage then you're gonna get?
Yes,
Yes,
yeah. Whatever you put for,
for surtax minus, okay.
yep, yep. Is that,
Even with the property where farmland values projected to go down, we still think this is.
that's, yeah. And like I said, whatever the board recommends, that's what we can move forward with. So this is what that's what's been proposed right now, so. And then section 11, 12 is intentionally blank. I'm not even sure why they have a section 12 on there, but they do. It even says intentionally blank. Okay, great.
Just in case.
Just in case they need to add it on later, I don't know. 13, it's all the same stuff that we've gone over. So I'm gonna bring you to the last page, section 21, other property and utility replacement taxes. We've estimated $422,408 for management. We are using those, that's the funds that we use to pay for early retirement. That's why we're putting that amount in there to pay for the early retirement. 21.3 is your PEPAL. We've maxed that out. Debt service, 21.7. Maxing that out as well so we can pay the GO bonds for the elementary and for the remodel from the junior, senior high school.
The locker rooms,
No, that was
way back.
way back.
We have enough money to pay the locker rooms.
Yes, yes. Yes, yep, yep. And so, also want to bring to notice on the notice of public hearing, proposed budget, on line 17, the readjustment for 2016 shows 0. It didn't pull over correctly, not sure how. I love technology when it works. When it doesn't, it can give you a headache. But I wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. That will get rectified. We'll submit that, get republished again. It's in the middle. It says proposed budget summary. I've highlighted it. It's line 17. I did call Lisa Oakley today. She said, not a big deal. We got it correct like on our end. You don't need to republish it, but if we want to go ahead and republish it,
And
that's
it should say what,
it should say the same as the previous, the
The
year.
5186.
Yeah, 5186, 458-ish. Like I said, I have no idea why that didn't pull over correctly. And same thing for line 34, they are tied together. It pulled over the principal and interest payment, but didn't pull over the total debt amount. So, once again, not sure why that didn't pull over, but it's caught, we'll get it corrected, we'll get it republished correctly. So, just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. The proposed tax rate is at the bottom, which is 16.05222. Last year it was 16.00. The year before that was 16.14. So we're right in there. So we're not changing that drastically. So. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. You can open this up, does the public have any questions on the budget?
We can't hear him.
I was wondering if the public had any questions on the budget.
Sorry.
If not, we'll move on. Okay, I got a couple announcements to make prior to approving the agenda. Just want to let everybody know that Mr. Nelson is in the hospital right now. That's why he's not attending. And also, I have 2 resignations. One from Jim Swenson, one from Scott Hickman, effective 4/14/16. They both have resigned from the school board. Okay, I need a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a question, let me talk afterwards. I wondered if item 16 and item 10 could be moved down before 15, so we're all talking about the whole budget at that time. Item 16, which is budget discussion, and 10 is K through 6 art position, right before the 2016-2017 budget. So it's all together.
Okay. Let's still ask for a motion and we have discussion. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll
So-
move.
Teresa, you first. Okay. I got a motion by Jane, a second by Teresa.
So you want me to say that again now in the discussion?
We're just changing the order, I guess.
Right.
For our position and moving budget
Discussion.
discussion prior
Before
to
15.
15. Item number 16, do you want to change that from, I think that was written incorrectly, budget discussion to budget reduction? It talks about other areas that could possibly be reduced or cut. Okay? With all that said, we need a vote now. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes, financial statements, and list of bills.
I'll move.
Sharon? Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Jane? Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Welcome, everyone. It's good to see you all tonight. And one request from Lindsay Morris to speak. If you want to come forward.
Hi, hello, how are you guys? Good. I would briefly like to address one item on the, listed on your revised agenda, and it was actually on the revised agenda from 4/12. So I decided I wasn't gonna change my words after I found out you revised your budget, today. So it was listed as the K through 12 art teacher, but now it's K through 6. So I guess I would like you to consider voting no to this idea. I'm a firm believer that art is no different than music, sports, or ag classes. For some students, reading, math, and science are the things that spark their interest and their desire to learn. And for others, it is art, music, and PE. I have 2 students currently in this district, 2 little girls, and both in the elementary building. The interests that they develop from science can be, maybe they're gonna make the next major medical breakthrough someday. You're gonna read about them in the news, but it could also be that student that develops the next skyline in the newest city like Des Moines. And that's going to come from your art, and they end up being an architecture major someday. My older daughter has a huge passion for reading. Each night she's studious from sun up to sundown. I couldn't really ask for a better kid to be in a class. And many nights she falls asleep reading her book and it ends up on her chest with her room light on. I've always referred to her as my prim and proper Princess Kate. She loves reading, she likes music, and she really doesn't like science. My second child, however, is my free spirit. She's always been the child that comes home every night and answers no when asked if she has homework. However, if you put on some music, she can find and keep a tune. She can keep or break down a beat. And if you give her a roll of duct tape, she is going to make you a fancy headband. Her love of school doesn't lie in math, science, or reading, but it does lie in music and art. Those are both very important for her. We call her our little Janis Joplin. For one teacher who is already teaching classes that are busting at the seams in the 7th through 12th grade classes, there's no way that that person can even be thought to consider or absorb the K through 6 students. It is without question more than one person should ever be expected to handle. Not only will the teacher suffer, but there will be reduced offerings for the 7th through 12th grade students. And the K through 6 building will only have art maybe every 5th or 6th day. I'm not alone in my belief that art helps children into being well-rounded adults. I don't envy any decisions that you guys as a board have to make. Budget cuts are never fun, but I encourage you to be creative, think outside the box, and leave no stone unturned. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Okay, we have our reports from our directors and administrators. Mr. Doc Stetter.
Got a couple things I'd like to address. First of all, I'd like to thank the people at Sugar Pie here locally. The Arnolds did a great job for the school district. They donated, I think it was over 70 meals for our staffs in the district to feed us out of nowhere. Nobody asked for this, and they stepped forward and they showed their support for this district and the teachers in this district. And we should really applaud them for that effort and to show what they're made of and that they're supporting this district. So I would like to thank them, give them a deep thank you for that. Along with that, some of you know that we started up our speech program again 2 years ago, and we've had some tremendous success. Some of that's due to the great coaching. We started with Mrs. Bloom and Mrs. Bach. This year we had Mrs. Bach and Mrs. Green. But we have great kids. And that makes all the difference. And so I'm going to turn that over to the speech coaches. They're back here. And some of the students that are involved because they've just done an outstanding job this year.
Thank you. Jane, come on forward. Over her way. Jane Roberts is going to lead off and tell you about large group.
Alright, we have had a very successful and busy speech season. There was 27 students who participated in the speech competitions this year. We started practicing large group speech contest in November. In January, we took 6 events to district large group speech. At this contest, we performed a 1-act play, a reader's theater piece, 3 group improvisation speech acts, and a musical theater performance. Our reader's theater piece and 2 of our group improv acts advanced to state speech competition in February, where our reader's theater piece earned a Division I rating.
In February, we took 23 events to district individual event speech contests. Students performed in a variety of different speaking areas, including radio news broadcasting, poetry, prose, literary program, improvisation, original oratory, solo musical theater, storytelling, and expository address. From there, we advanced 12 events, 12 students to the state individual speech contest in March that was held in Dubuque. Out of those 12 events, 8 of our students have earned Division I ratings, 3 of which earned all ones from 3 different judges. Jane Roberts was one, Maddie Mason was another, and Mariah Smith was the last. The highlight of the year came when Mariah Smith was chosen to perform improvisation at the All-State Speech Festival at UNI on April 4th.
That's huge.
This is a huge honor. It's a festival. It's no longer a competition. The best of the best go to All-State. This is a huge honor. It can't be prepared for ahead of time. She invents her story 5 minutes before she performs. Mariah made her huge audience laugh with her clever one-liners. We're constantly impressed with the grace under pressure she shows and her amazing talent.
Melissa and we've had a lot of help throughout the year from vocal music director Zach Howell. He helped us with the solo musical theater acts and the musical theater performance. We also had a lot of help from our English teacher, Emily Weeke. She listened to the 26 events that we took, and she was amazing. Melissa and I could not have gotten to all the events at districts without their help. We are extremely proud of these kids. They are involved in everything in this school. They take the college classes, they get the strong A's, they're in jazz band, they were in the musical Legally Blonde, and many of these kids, they were rehearsing Legally Blonde, the musical, at the same time that they were preparing for FFA events, jazz band contests, and then they were practicing for speech. We started speech in November, and we worked almost every day in November, December, January, and then we went to large group competition, and then they started all over with individual events, and they were amazing. And so we finally ended at the end of March, well, April for Mariah, but they worked so hard. And I just want you guys to know that we really have great kids here at BK, and they should be commended. So, thank you.
I'd like to thank Mrs. Bach and Mrs. Green for doing this. It's wonderful. I mean, it's kind of new for us in Belmont, so you guys did a great job.
Thank you.
Can we also commend the band and choir students that got a lot of Division Ones at small group contest last weekend? It was on the front page of the paper, and we're also in the great musical League One, so you guys, good job.
Steve Doherty, are you here?
I'm back here.
Can you come forward? Can you come forward?
Huh?
Can you please come forward?
Sure will. I'm here.
Okay.
Oh, for a summer report?
Thank you.
And the tags for the, do they have to go to the chamber office to get those? or
Yeah,
City
you would
Hall?
have to go to the chamber office to get the tags.
Thanks, Trish. Kim Bellestein.
I think I'm here to recommend that we have to up the adult lunch price to $3.50 to be federally correct at this point, for the beginning of 16-17. And that's federally mandated that we raise it to at least, I think it was $3.44 or $3.46. And to make it to where the secretary started work with pennies, we went to $3.50. So it's just federally regulated. We have to raise that.
Choice.
It needs to be board approved that we raise the price. I believe,
We need a vote on it.
I know we do when we raise the for student meal,
What was it before?
$3.35.
How soon do you need this done?
In time for fee schedules.
What is that? Say that again.
In time for fee schedules for when the packets go out for registration. We need it in time to be printed correctly for that.
Okay.
So, and I think that's all I really have. I'm filling out stuff for summer lunch program, and that will run accordingly with summer school.
Are you doing the Clemmy area food thing again?
That's not in my plans this year, no. It'll come up later in the stuff, but I have 2 retiring,
Oh.
and I just don't have the manpower this summer to go around like that.
Okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Kelly Johnson.
Thank you for the time to speak. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the K-6 counselor over at Jacobson. And I wanted a chance to talk to you guys tonight just to update you on the backpack program. This is my 4th year at Belmont Clemmy, and when I started, part of my job is also managing the at-risk roster. And when I first started, we had about 50 kids on our at-risk list over at Jacobson. This year I have almost 80, and so our numbers have increased since I've been here, and we have a lot of needs. So when I kind of came in, I was noticing a lot of kids coming, especially Monday mornings, very hungry. And, you know, Kim Belson could probably speak to it too, that they tell us, some of the kids can't tell us what they had for dinner the night before and things like that. I just have kind of a different viewpoint, an intimate viewpoint into their lives a little bit. So I noticed that this was a need, and I started asking questions through the United Way of North Iowa and things like that about how we could get the backpack program started in Belmont. A very long story short, we partnered with Eaton's, who, by the way, does all the work now. And I provide, how it kind of works is that the Food Bank of Iowa delivers food to Eaton, and Eaton packs the meals and brings them to Jacobson every Friday. Right now I have about 42 bags going home every week with some of our students, and just like any program, I do have kinks that need ironed out still. So, but I work closely with them. Like I said, they do most of the work. What I do is I provide locker numbers, and they come through the school, they drop a bag in the locker. Sometimes I don't even see them there. So whenever you get a chance to thank somebody from Eaton's, they do a lot of work, and they offer incentives for their employees to volunteer with this. And they won a couple of awards for the work that they do. So it's been very successful. I also think that, you know, based on our free and reduced numbers, I was told that that Belmont could have more like 80 bags going home every week. But I don't have, some families just don't want the help, and that's fine. But it has been very successful, and I just want you to keep in mind, we have a lot of great kids who also struggle at home and don't have the support at home. So once I kind of got the backpack program stabilized a little bit, I started realizing we have these kids who the food thing is taken care of. We offer the backpack program. Kim Belsine will feed any kid at any time. And so that was taken care of, but I started noticing that these kids also don't have relationships with a lot of adults. The Bronco Buddies program was being run with kids at the high school, and it kind of got hard to schedule Bronco Buddies with the kids at the high school because those are kids that sign up for everything during their study hall, that kind of thing. So I kind of made a transition into making Bronco Buddies a community type mentoring program. Right now I have 6 volunteers who I've matched with a student, mostly some of my higher at-risk students, and they come in once a week to work with those kids, and it's so neat. If one of my Bronco Buddies is 5 minutes late, I have kids asking me, where are they? It's, you know, the smiles on their faces makes it all worth it. A couple stories where I have a 4th grade student who really struggled in reading. Her reading scores were really low. She started working with her Bronco Buddy. She loves reading. She's passing all kinds of RC quizzes, and her teacher has instilled a really great love of reading in her. But also just that extra, she feels like it's an extra special thing for her, and I can tell you she doesn't get it at home. So on top of that, I have a kindergarten student who just started meeting with the Bronco Buddy, and we did our March reading thing last month, and I had a kindergartner who, they earned their basketballs for every 15 minutes that they read. I have a kindergarten student who's a outstanding reader, and she was not getting, it required a parent signature if you read 15 minutes. She didn't have a parent at home that was willing to do that. So she wasn't earning any basketballs, and she was so sad, but her Bronco Buddy came in, and that's what they did. So she earned, you know, 12 basketballs that week, and she was so proud of herself. And those are the things that make it successful. So I have, like I said, 6 volunteers. I'm going to talk with the sorority next week to see if I can get some more volunteers. And I especially need male volunteers, that's just my plug. But I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that. And on top of all of these things, trying to meet the needs of 85 at-risk students is a difficult task. So this school year, I asked the teachers who would be willing to give up 1 lunch period a week and just sit and eat with some of my at-risk kids. I think I had maybe 12 teachers step up and give up their lunch period once a week. And if you do the math, if I have about 5 or 6 kids in that group, that's 50 at-risk kids who get some one-on-one attention with an adult. And they don't miss lunch bunch. I mean, they keep you accountable. So that's just another thing to think about. Our teachers are great. They're giving up their only time without kids once a week to meet with some other at-risk kids, and it helps meet some of those needs that I can't do myself. So I just wanted to take a few minutes to update all of you on how that's going.
Wonderful, great job.
Thank you.
Sarah Keene, did you have anything you need to report for us?
Well, Kelly did a nice job of highlighting some programs at the elementary. Just wanted to say thank you again for all the support for that reading month. It was really neat. The community was all over the place the entire month, and that was really, really neat. In addition to them coming in, we spent a lot of time at the different assisted living and care centers, and establish some neat bonds there. And at different times, they're like, my kids, elementary kids, would just say, well, can we just sit and visit? And that was really cool to see too. The other thing, of course, we're in Iowa assessment time, just finishing up that. We got a special little certificate with from the Department of Human Services. It's a 4-star rating for our preschool program, and that's 4 stars out of a possible 5. 2 years ago, we were a 3, we weren't rated at all last year, and then we upped it to a 4 this year. And just so you kind of know what that means, a level 1, a 1-star program meets all the state criteria. Level 2 programs have agreed to work with child care, nurse consultants have provided staff orientation and assessed the skills of their staff, so they've gone that extra step. 3s, 4s, and 5s then add additional earned credit for education, experience, training, health, safety, compliance, working with parents. The environmental rating scale of their program, we actually had that done. And so we actually applied for a 4 and got the 4, and then that was additional $1,600 for those two preschool rooms because of that jump in level. So I'm very proud of them.
Did I miss anybody? Okay, we'll move on.
The university or college and the student. Yeah, I was shocked that that was even on there. So, yeah, I've never written it myself.
So it's a change.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Well done.
Does anybody else have any questions for Kevin?
What does it mean, Kevin, the TSA plans are not on the district's uniform accounting system? Is that because we were trying to get caught up on those?
So, nope, that's an account. That money goes in.
Special account?
It goes in, it's literally like a wash account, goes in and out to pay employees. So literally, there's the zero balance, it's never has a sitting balance.
Okay.
The fact that money goes in and out, they say it should be on there, so. It's benefits are paid to the employees, so, I'm not sure.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we literally, it's $5,000 goes in for payroll, for the benefits, and it gets paid, and it's in and out, so.
The travel expenses are?
It's on the last page,
Yeah.
number 2.
So with that, that was, instead of using like a Google Maps for like mileage, that's basically what they're recommending, is using like a Google Maps to have that supported documentation. That way it's supported that way. So, and that's a change that we've made, is to have like a Google Maps or like a MapQuest or something like that, to have that additional supportive documentation.
Does a non-certified staff have to fill out timesheets? Is that what they want you to do? Or
Coaches.
do they do that now? Or?
So coaches, they are recommending, and because that's tough for coaches to clock in and out because the building's locked, they recommended possibly like having a calendar in the car and writing, okay, 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock. And then we can make that as a time card that would be considered a time card that we could use.
Like a paper time card.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
they said
sense.
like a time card or like they said even a calendar, that you could just write the hours on the calendar for that day and then they could submit that as their hours worked.
And they do that bi-weekly, or do you do it for the whole month when they, for like coaches and stuff?
Coaches, they get paid once the season is complete.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
There's a certain procedure they have to go through with the athletic director. They have to turn in all the equipment, they have to go and basically have an exit interview, I guess is what I would call it.
Okay.
And check off and go through like a review. And then once they're approved to get paid by the athletic director, then that's when I go ahead and process them for them to get paid.
The time cards I saw when I subbed it for a city were like a month. They were like 4 different weeks.
Okay.
Rather than reinvent the wheel,
Yeah.
maybe just see
Yeah.
if they could shoot you one out.
Yeah, that's a good recommendation.
What was the deficit unrestricted net position of $1.2 million in the governmental activity? Is that just something that was in the wrong spot, or under financial conditions on that last page? What does that mean?
Let me contact them and make sure I understand and answer that correctly for you, and I'll get back to you.
So basically, they were pretty long.
Yeah, like I said, there was no material findings.
Nobody's stealing any money.
Correct. Nobody's feeling any like that.
Okay.
So Kevin, you have to learn a lot in a short period of time.
Yes. Yes. Thrown into the deep end and sweat. Yes. That's what I like to say.
Well, thanks for staying. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a motion to accept the policy report.
So moved.
Jeff. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Sharon? Thank you. Is there any more discussion? If not, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Motion passes. Employment resignations. We have 2 resignations. Are you comfortable doing that together? Okay, we have Elijah Kinseth, assistant baseball coach, and Oral Lack, cook. Motion to accept those 2 resignations.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Sure. Is there any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Now we have employment recommendations, and we have quite a list. Do you want those, we need to separate these out.
Individual.
You want to run through them each one individual?
Sure.
Because they're not. Let's start with Joe Perez. He'll be the girls and boys golf coach. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Sure. Is there a second? Teresa. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
The second one is Callie Stein for the TLC District Learning Coordinator.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Teresa.
I'll second.
Jane. Is there any discussion?
And this is based on that the paperwork maybe is already done, gone in. I assume, for this. I thought he had some paperwork to sign yet for the TLC. Is that correct or not? Don't know.
I don't think it was him. I think it was Jason that had to send some stuff
Oh,
to
okay.
us.
We can start.
But we can.
But it's all done, right?
Okay, I got a motion and a second to employ Callie Stein as the TLC District Learning Coordinator. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Next one is Christine Schultz, TLC instructional coach.
Is Christine here?
She's a special ed teacher.
Special ed teacher at the elementary.
So is this, will she just be at the elementary then, or is this K-12?
It's a K-6 instructional coach.
Do we have a high school one yet?
Not yet.
Not yet, okay.
So she's K-6.
K-6.
It might be pre-K-6, I'm not sure, but I think it's just K-6.
Okay, elementary building.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Sharon.
I'll second it.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? It's been recommended to employ Christine Schultz as the TLC instructional coach. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Sean Parker, high school baseball. Motion. Okay, we'll move on for a lack of a motion. Xavier Leonard, high school softball head coach.
I'll make that motion.
Jane. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor behind Xavier Leonard, excuse me, as the high school softball head coach, please say yes.
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 Motion passes. Ms. Katie Durham.
Does anybody know her?
I don't remember the
She was here last year.
She was assistant last year.
It just says high school assistant coach. What sport are we talking about?
Softball.
Softball.
Softball?
Is there a motion? Teresa. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Jackie. Is there any discussion? Okay. Employment for Katie Duro, high school assistant softball coach. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Roger Duval, junior high baseball.
I'll make that motion.
Oh, you do it.
Sharon. Jackie, second. Is there any discussion? Okay, employment for Roger Duval, the junior high baseball. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Carol Quinn, junior high softball.
I move we hire Karen.
Jackie. Is there a second? That also will be dropped because there is not a second. Moving on to employment of Corey Hefner, buildings and grounds supervisor. Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Jane?
Second.
Sharon? Is there any discussion? Okay, employment of Corey Hefner as the building and grounds supervisor. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, summer school dates.
Yeah.
The 10 we're moving down, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The high school will be June 6th through July 1st. And the elementary will be June 20th through July 1st, and also July 25th through August 5th. Need a motion to accept these dates.
I move we accept these dates.
Second that.
Got Jackie and Teresa.
I just have one question. How is this funded?
It's through that one.
Title I. Thank you.
And well, high school is at risk. Elementary side one.
Thank you.
Okay, is there any more discussion on the summer school dates? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving these dates for summer school, please say yes.
Yes.
Those opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, now we have the service contracts, and Steve, if you're still here, you want to talk to us about these contracts? I know you have in the past. We have one from Halverson and Train, one from Woodman Control Company, and one from Mechanical Air Systems.
Right, the Woodman Control and the Mechanical Air Systems are the controls end with Woodman and the mechanical end with Mechanical Air. The Halverson Train is all one. They do both controls and mechanical for Jacobson Building. Again, it's up to the board what you want to do. We've done them ever since the geosystems were put in. It's kind of a twofold thing, especially on the high school system. Woodman controls, if I have a problem with a unit, they can remote in along with me to see what the issue is and either send me to try this, try that, or they'll fix it remotely. They can get in and do it. If we have this, it's included in this. Otherwise, we pay. If I call them, visit with a tech person, they charge us. Of course, if they come out, they have to pay anyway, but otherwise, if they remote in, there's a fee for that. So it's kind of built into this. They do it twice a year, heating season, cooling season. And basically, they go through the system, update the software, which you've got to do every year anyway. So again, we'd have to pay them to come back and do that. So that's, and Train does the same thing for Jacobson, but it's all under one contract. They send both guys up, the control guy and the mechanical guy goes through the whole system. As far as the mechanical end, they go through, they check everything, the bearings and everything. Yes, I can go check through them, but I don't know all the integral parts that go into these pumps and everything else, which they check. I think it's a good thing. I think it's some preventative maintenance. It's pay me now or pay me later, maybe, maybe not. Maybe we could forego them for a year and we might get lucky.
But the auditor's report, Kevin, if you want to come forward and help us through this.
Doesn't Kevin look nice?
Thank you. I did not wear the coat all day, so first 5 minutes of my day and the last 45 minutes here, so. I won't go through the whole 75-page report because that would take a month. But there's an insert from the auditors. It's on their letterhead. It's the 3.5 pages, short summary. So that would be what I would call your attention to.
Oh.
Yes, that. Oh, you might have gotten it too.
That's where you want that one.
Okay. And so this is for the audit from 2014-15 fiscal year. They make sure that we're following the GAAP, which is generally accepted accounting principles, which is mandated by federal and state laws, which we did. They performed the audit according to the plan scope and timing previously committed and communicated to management September 1st, 2015. Management is responsible for the selection and use of appropriate accounting policies. The significant account policies used by Belmont Columbia Community School District are described in the financial statements. They encountered no significant difficulties in dealing with management in performing and completing the audit. Professional standards require us to accumulate all known and likely misstatements identified during the audit, other than those that are trivial, and communicate them to the appropriate level of management. Management has corrected all such misstatements. In addition, none of the misstatements detected as a result of audit procedures and corrected by management were material, either individually or in the aggregate to the financial statements taken as a whole. Just to summarize, there were no significant findings, no red flags, so to speak. I wasn't here for the 2014-15 fiscal year, so I can't speak too in detail, but like I said, there was no significant material findings that they have indicated in the audit. This is all submitted to the state as well, so. That's really all I have.
I just have one question. When it talks about, they noted during the audit, administration approving their own purchase orders, and the recommendation, where we have an independent person approve these, who's that individual going to be?
They recommended somebody from the board, possibly board president. That was a
Just curious.
recommendation. So,
But that would just be for the administrators.
Right.
yes,
Yeah, the administrators would be.
yes, exactly.
So some of their concerns, like the credit cards not having supported receipts or the travel expenses of mileage, these have all been fixed.
Yeah, the credit card was literally, it was one receipt from a local store here. They bought 10 items at like $4, and they literally just wrote like a receipt like that. They didn't like it that it wasn't on their actual, like a printed out receipt. So out of the thousands and thousands and thousands, and yes, it wasn't itemized. They just said 10, I can't remember what the 10 items were, but it was like $10 or 10 items up for, it was literally like a $40 receipt.
How about the scholarship awards? Is that a change we're gonna make? Where they write the checks to the student?
Yeah, no, it's to the student, I read it to.
Okay, so you've got an update for us.
Well, just basically that everything's ordered for summer, like our usual waxing, stripping, and everything else. Our first construction meeting will be June 1st. That is due to start June 6th, and it will, I hope, be done August 1st. That's the plan. Everything is in place to go. They visited with the architects. They'll have all of the contractors here on the 1st, and we've got cards ready to go. We're set to move on that project. And otherwise, basically, that's it, I guess, for summer, except I could use some help.
How are we coming with the hiring of your job?
It's on tonight.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Steve, I have a couple of questions. I guess, since we are hiring someone, since you took early retirement, when are you finished up and when you want to have this new employee start so you can have
I'd like him,
training?
the new employee will need a 2-week notice, which would be starting May 2nd is when he would start training. That's what I'd propose. And he'll have June 10th, I'm gone, so he'll have about 6 weeks training, so.
Would you say that again? I'm sorry.
That's good. He could start May 2nd. In other words, he's got to give a 2-week notice to his employer, and then he would start the 2nd.
And you're done.
I would be, it's normally June 30th is my contract, but I have vacation to burn, which I gotta use it or lose it, so I'm going the 10th. I'd be done the 10th. But I hope
And
to have,
are you done, or can they call you with
Well, if I'm around.
Unless it's fishing.
You've been through the whole thermal thing, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, that's not a problem. There's gonna be issues all the way through. I try to think of everything. I've got a logbook. I've sat down and worked on what I do monthly, but then as I go through my daily stuff, I find other stuff that's not in there, but with this new person, believe me, call me. I can help you through it. If I have to come up and help him, I'll be happy to, because there are things that it's gonna come up, you're gonna kinda have to have hands-on or help him. But that's up to you guys if you want me to come up, but I'll be happy to use the phone and help him through as much as I can. And I'll try and, I think in that 6 weeks, I'm not really concerned so much with the geothermal, getting him on board with that, as I am just the day-to-day things like striping the football field, getting the football area ready, the baseball, softball area, all the other tasks that you get seasonally or each, weekly. Of course, that changes too.
Our Gridiron Club doesn't help do the lines on the football field?
They do the numbers, the big numbers that are out there, but I do everything else. You have to go out and find the pins that we have out there, and Scott Meyer's a big help with that. He knows how to do it too. That's one, I just will give a plug for my summer help as long as I'm standing here. Because this year, more than ever, we have the construction project, which is gonna delay things a little. We might not. So I guess it's kind of a roll of the dice, but I'm confident. I think it's good. We started with them. We've gone for, what, five years here, 8 years there. But it's your call.
We've done it every year since we've had this system, and my recommendation with a new buildings and ground person,
Yeah.
I would highly
The extra
recommend.
help would be nice too. Yeah. And they're really good people to work with. I've had really good luck, especially Train. They're really good. They send the guy that can't hear up, but he's the best guy we ever had. He goes through the system and he'll come to me and he'll say, well, I'll have to charge normally to do this, but I got time, I'll do it today. I mean, he's that type of guy, and just a good old guy. And I really am happy with him. Otherwise, I might say bad things about him. So that's
this-
up to you, but I think it'd be a good idea to stay with it.
It's
especially-
once a year fee?
Huh?
It's once a year fee?
It is, once on the Woodman controls, because they divide their fee in half, so you
Oh, I
pay
see.
them twice.
Fine, okay.
But it's all, yearly fee on all of them. So, and mechanical air
So this amount here is just for 6
would be
months?
twice. Yeah, sorry. Mechanical air is a good example of the auditorium. When they put in the geothermal systems there, the units up top, they put the filter units in so bad that I can't even get in there to change them. So part of this contract, when we did this, I said, you guys will change those filters, because I'm not going in there and kill myself trying to do that. So that is part of this contract, and they are doing. I made darn sure it got put in there, so. It's just, one of those stupid things. Okay. No?
Okay, thanks, Steve.
Could we approve the three of these together?
Yes, if the board's okay with that, we can do that together.
I move that we approve the 3 service contracts in items 12, 13, and 14.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second to accept the service contracts from Halverson Train for Jacobson Building, Woodman Controls, and mechanical air for the high school. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Okay, now we're gonna move into the K-6 art position. Okay, I guess I'm looking for a motion.
I move that we hire a K-6 art teacher.
And I'll second that.
Okay, I'd like to ask for some discussion.
I have something I would like to read. Is that okay? All right. Some statistics from right here in Iowa. Findlay Elementary School in Des Moines was the lowest achieving school in the state when it began participating in the Turnaround Arts program. When I heard their fine arts administrator speak to our legislative education committees at the state capitol, I was amazed by the numbers she presented. All because of a school-wide implementation of this fine arts program, they saw an increase in math and reading test scores. Not art and music, math and reading. They also saw a decrease in behavior problems, fewer out-of-school suspensions, fewer referrals, a significant drop in the school mobility rate, a rise in attendance of the students, but also the parents at events, at conferences, and even at meetings. People wanted to be there because of the arts. Actor Cal Penn was also present as a Turnaround Arts representative that day in Des Moines. His comment was this: are we educating engineers or are we educating innovators? Because if it's the latter, the arts provide a great deal of opportunity for every student. And as he said, the arts gave us the confidence to get to our chosen profession, even if we are not professional artists.
Thank you, Jackie. Is there any more discussion?
I just want to make a statement that, you know, we have, open enrollment is one of our biggest issues in this district. And I feel that if we get rid of the art program in K through 6, that would just give more leverage to open enrollment out. I know we're gonna have to cut something, I don't know what it's gonna be, but I think art is.
Okay. Anybody else?
It doesn't matter what age you are, being able to be free and express yourself, whether it's a masterpiece or not. You take it home, it's a pride and joy to your family and to yourself. There's, you know, we've got all of these people that are having their artwork, you know, at the museum in Clear Lake. They didn't do that in just 1 year. You know, they've had a little bit of practice, and they're not afraid to put down on paper who they are. And I think that's what the kids need.
I also want you to know that the Every Student Succeeds Act was passed by the Congress in December of 2015, and that allows flexibility of Title I funds to support a well-rounded education, which includes Title I funds being used for art and music.
Is there any more discussion? There's been a motion and a second to hire a K-6 art position. All those in favor, please say yes.
Yes.
Opposed, no. Motion passes. Now we're going to discuss the budget again. Kevin, can I have you come forward one more time? It's my understanding when we discussed this the other night, if we added an art position, we were at 258,000, something in that range.
Yeah, 260, yeah, 250, yeah.
There was one position that we had in early retirement that I'm hoping we can fill internally. That was an aide position, I believe, study hall monitor, or something like that, a big position, librarian. What is the position?
LMC.
LMC.
Yeah,
Oh, sure.
So, and if we can fill that with internally, where does that bring us up to?
maybe roughly 280 in savings. Also, keep in mind as well that with the elementary art position, with our at-risk, dropout at-risk application, we coded that 1/4 salary to that as well. So there's additional savings there. 12, 13. Yeah.
Is that coded just for the art or for music as well?
That's PE,
Art
art,
and
music, yes.
So that's 12 for each, or 12 total?
It'd be, so, no, it'd be each, yes. Each.
So that's
I'm sorry.
36.
It would be,
I'm not good at math, but
nope, I gotta,
This is the Title I that you just talked about.
I get that.
no. Yeah, it would be 12 to 13 per position.
So that would be another 36,000.
You already have that figured in.
No, I did not. 'Cause I didn't know, and for the elementary art, that's hard to put a pinpoint number because we have not actually offered,
Right.
so that's
The
an
position
estimate.
to somebody, so you don't know what level they're at.
Right. For the elementary PE, that would be right around 12 to 13.
So we're kind of
We're-
at that
we're-
300,000 ballpark
we're
that we
right-
wanted to
right
get
there.
to.
We're right there.
But what happens if when we're in negotiations now and we have to go to arbitration? And I think the teachers was 5 point something, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And they win that 5 point something. Then what?
We have some tough decisions to make.
And there's no way to determine that before we do the budget.
Unless negotiations were done months ago.
Prior to
Yeah.
that.
But right now, we're not in that situation, so there's, this was based on a 3.25 settlement agreement. Once again, Mr. Sinclair said he's not negotiating on behalf, I'm not negotiating either. I'm just saying that was
Right.
that's what it was based on.
Is it my understanding, if they go to arbitration, the arbitrator either sides with one or the other and doesn't combine, is that correct?
Once you get to that.
To that point.
Yeah, then whatever their final offer and whatever our final offer is, they choose between the two. But there's wiggle room before that.
Okay.
Lots.
So, there's always gonna be nothing written in stone where what our expenses will be for the year.
Right, it's always, it's a moving target.
Right.
I mean, it's something I look at.
And I think it's remarkable that just through our early retirement program, we've been able to save this
It's huge.
$300,000.
And I want to go on the record that we need to commend all these people that took the early retirement package. They're amazing staff. They're going to be greatly missed. It's going to be hard to replace. They dedicated their whole lives to our school district, and they need to be commended for that. So.
And what was the position last meeting about next year was going to be even worse? Why did they feel that way?
Just expenses keep
Going up?
right.
And the open enrollment is going.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Everything could change as far as open enrollment, you never know.
Right.
I said we wait till next year. Work at it then. I think we've done a good job so far.
Think about that too. No, I'm with you.
I don't make any recommendations, I just provide numbers.
You're just the number
I just want to go on the record for that as well.
Duly.
Okay, I think that really helped us out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the 2016-2017 budget. I need a motion to approve that.
This is the budget that Kevin presented like an hour ago, right? Yeah. I move we accept that 2016-2017 budget.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Sure. Is there any more discussion?
Yes, Kevin?
Kevin's got some discussion for us.
When I presented that, you had mentioned you wanted the income surtax. So
This is the time to
this
discuss
is,
that.
this is a time. Step away.
Walk away.
Okay, what does the board think about the, normally we've done a 3% in the past.
We have a new habit, right?
We haven't done it the last 2 years.
Well, just this past year we did the year before, and then we missed it the year prior.
Before that.
And I believe you have to file that with the state yearly, correct? You have to file that with the state yearly too.
Yeah, it's when you submit your budget. So when I click submit tomorrow, which is Wednesday.
But I'm thinking if we get the most money by using the property tax rather than the income surtax, I'm thinking the income surtax would be less because of farmers' money this year. It's not as great as what it's been.
I agree with Sharon. And I don't want to die in this ditch. I don't really care that much, but.
As long as we're aware of it,
Right.
you know.
And Gary Sinclair is an expert, I am not, and he thinks that's the way to go. So I think we should go with the
With the
zero.
proposed budget
Yes.
and leave it as is.
The only thing I want to say is when you go strictly property tax, you're putting the burden on people that own property. People that don't own property within the school district are not taxed. This is a way to even out
Well, that's
the
true.
tax load. That's the only reason why I would recommend that.
I understand that, and I appreciate that, but the most money we can get is the way we need to go, because we need money. And if it's different next year, we can, it's just for 1 year, I mean, we can always change it next year.
Any more discussion?
With the property tax, you see that the next, like, you'll see it quicker with the income surtax, you have to wait a year and a half.
Correct.
So, also,
You should just stay seated.
good here.
Get your Fitbit points.
So, Kevin, I have a question. Our property tax, is that allocated at 2 different times, or just
Like March and October.
Right, yeah, majority, yes. Majority of it, yes. The majority of it, but we get money from each county each month, but the majority, our larger payments are in those times, yes. Whereas with the income surtax, it's an 18-month turnaround, so if you apply it, you're not gonna see it until.
You won't see it for another, over a year.
Okay. So the board is directing to stay with all property tax and will not be doing the income tax surcharge, is that what I'm understanding? Okay, we've already had a motion and a second by Jackie and Sharon. We'll go ahead and vote on this. All those in favor, please say yes.
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 Opposed, no. Motion passes. The last item, Jane, I'm just going to ask you to, I got a lot of phone calls because of the motion that was made. I just want you to clarify that,
I
please.
would certainly clarify that, because I've watched the video a couple times and wanted to make sure what the motion was. And the motion was to suspend the use for the superintendent of the credit card for travel, mileage, and expenses, not day-to-day operational business.
Thank you.
Yep.
Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Jane? All those in favor, please say yes. All those in favor of adjourning, please say yes.
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 We're adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Also, for instance, I'm not here, the football field is a big thing, and you gotta do that like the end of July, 1st of August, get out, locate it, get it striped, repeat doing it every week. Scott has gone through all of it with me for many, many summers, and he knows. And I think more than ever, your new guy, it would help to have him here, because I won't be here, so that's up to you guys, but I think that's it.
When's the last day the kids are in the building, in school now?
Is it the
27th.
So they'll be down there. We do have another dance recital that comes right up, I think it's 2 that weekend, so. Then we should be clear, I think, and I'm gonna keep everything out of down there. Another thing I've done is I went through and I looked, and that's something we'll talk about down the road, you guys, is the lockers, the old lockers. We don't wanna just toss them all, some of them are good. And I've got an inventory of all of that. I've contacted the Buildings and Grounds Association, and they run ads on stuff like that for different districts. However we have to approach it to sell them, I think it'd be worth a try, because some of them are pretty good yet. Otherwise, the so-sos, it'd be neat locally, maybe people, we could sell them for whatever you guys think, or bid, whatever you wanna do. But rather than take them out and, get rid of them out at the bucks, I think it'd be smart to try and sell some of that stuff. Other than that.
I have an idea.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? And I'm working on your project, but I haven't got anywhere yet. You know the project. Let me know if I can help you.
Thanks, Steve.
Yep,
Thank you.
bet.
Trish Morris, you have a report for us?
Yeah, just a real quick, on the table in front of you, you'll see a poster. It's the e-recycling and citywide cleanup day. We are on year 6 of our e-recycling event that we typically do, whether it's in the fall or in the spring. This year I was approached by Judy Aldridge from the Chamber to see if we would be willing to partner with the city for a citywide cleanup. They will be working with MT Sharing and Recycling out of Rowan. We will be working with Bucks. So in combination with the city, Chamber, and the school, and then FFA, it's going to be a 2-day event. And all the proceeds and monies that we would get for iron, steel, computers, that type of thing, will come back to the school technology program. On Saturday, the FFA student chapter will be picking up items, and any money that would be from them for tags, the Chamber will be writing a check back to the FFA. So it's really kind of a neat thing. It's expanded more this year, and it's nice to see a school-to-community partnership in something like this. And that will be on Friday, April 29th, 8 to 4. The alternative school kids will be with us here in the back in the bus barn. So that's when that will happen. It's really kind of neat. The other thing real quick I wanted to tell you, a couple months ago I explained to you about our phone system, and that I would be bringing to you at a later date some information. I am still waiting on some altered changes from another quote, so I will be bringing you that information next month's board meeting.